All right, indeed, a very, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us on this edition of The Tackle. It is a Friday of July 2022. It's the 15th of July 2022. It's a Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. And today kama Nairobi ni baridi kidogo, lakini pia it's a bit warm compared to other days. Sisi tumekuwa kwa mashinani. We've been in mashinani. Na mashinani tunaotanga jua. Tulisikia watu wa Nairobi mlikuwa mnalia. While we are away, you guys were crying. So karibu as usual, please, when you join, when you like, we get to know that you're watching us. And that like, please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to broadcast. Leo tuko na mgeni Willis Otieno. Mheshimiwa Willis Otieno, depending on you, whether you guys are going to give him justice in the Supreme Court, then we could be calling him His Excellency Willis Otieno. Next week. He's the running mate, Jimmy Wanjigi is running mate of the Safina party presidential ticket. And we'll be having a discussion, of course, around what as the saga that has surrounded the approval or none of it by Iebc. And we're to tell us, is it a legal process? Is it a legal issue? Ama ni shamba la wanyama? Mashamba la wanyama, kuna wanyama ambao wako more equal than others. These are the backdrop of other clearance of other candidates that has been happening even as soon as last week. One of them being Mike Sonko. Lakini kabla tujaingia kwenye siasa, kama kawaida lazima tuende mbele za Mungu tuombe. Alafu tukirudi basi tunakuja kuwapa salamu zenu. Mighty Father, we come before you this morning. We worship you, glorify your name. Thank you for another opportunity to be alive. We thank you for this morning. We thank you for this conversation. We even thank you for the guest. We thank you for Kenyans who have joined us this morning. As we have this conversation, may it edify the fabric of this country. For you pray, trusting and believing. Amen and amen. Aya, asante. Najaribu kuona ni wangana wagani wameweza kuamuka sasa hivi. As we also trying to look, also be trying to check out the traffic situations for you. Pale barabarani tuone traffic inakaa aje. I'll be trying to look at the traffic for you. Lakini meanwhile niambie mahali ulipo traffic iko namna gani? Where you are? How is traffic on your end? Mahali ulipo traffic inakaa vipi? Meanwhile I'm trying to find you guys hapa kwenye salamu zenu niangalie. I don't know why I cannot access I cannot access the feed, but meanwhile, let me try and check out the traffic situation on your roads. Lakini niambie pia traffic mahali ulipo hali ikoaje? Nani ameweza kuamka? Let's look at who is awake this morning. Please, when you join, please, like when you like, we get to know that you're watching us. And that like, please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to watch the broadcast. This is a Sharia WIKI edition of the Tackle of the 15th of July 2022, and it begins right now. Taniangalia hali ya traffic ikoje barabarani. Alafu tunajua inakuaje, but let me know how traffic is looking at on the road. Magazeti pia will be loading shortly, be able to know what's happening. Tumesikia mambo ya Kenyatta University as well, wanalia kwamba shamba it's about to be taken by the state. The state is saying we have right of access to any property that belongs to state, and KU Council is saying no way. Atupapo. The guys who have been fired as well are home, while the guys who have been hired are saying no, we are not going to report on duty. So I don't know what's going to happen right there, but let's look at how traffic is on your roads. Ngong Road, tuone mambo ya Ngong Road kunakaa vipi. Ngong Road looks clear. Nothing much on the road, looks very clear. There's only a little traffic up roundabout ya Mbagathi, joining in from Mbagathi way and also heading towards the Kenyatta National Hospital. There's some little traffic, normal exchange traffic, like in between the roundabout ya Kenyatta kuelekea Alingam, that is Total Alingam. Akukai vizuri, it's looking crazy. So try and use the other road. You can use the barabara ya Library, utamkia pale chini, utokea hapo karibu Shell, Pan-Africa, alafu mambo yako inakuwa shwari zaidi. Long Junction, pale karibu na Junction, it looks very clear. Kukai kama kuna mambo Prestige hapo kidogo, traffic kawaida ya masaa mataa pale. I don't think there is any much traffic. As usual, going up on Kingara Road doesn't look very good. Hiyo mlima ya Kingara Road kidogo kukai vizuri, so you can try and use an alternative road pale, joining in towards Valley Arcade, looking good as well, very clear. Acha niangalie wangwana wapi hapa. Let's look at Riara Road, not looking very bad as well, a bit clear. What were Lavington, all clear. If you are using the Lavington side, all clear. Towards the Badex door, very clear. Numero, very clear. Lavington Green, very clear as well. Watu wakileleshwa mambo inakaa vizuri pia, very clear this morning. Mambo ya kileleshwa very clear. The roads are very clear towards the Dennis Street roundabout as well, very clear. There isn't traffic towards Yaya, no traffic as well. Mambo inakaa shwari on that road today. Watu wa Westlands all clear as well. Hakuna shida hata kidogo barabarani. Watu wa Thika Road kama kawaida najua la kwamba mko na shida kidogo. Acha niangalie Thika Road inakaa vipi. Thika Road looking all crazy from Utalii College pale juu. from KCA University actually, not looking very good. Ukiingia Utalii College, joining into Muthaiga Exchange, not looking very good. Watu wa Kiambu Road almost clear as well. Kuna traffic inaanzia tu hapo karibu na Danki kidogo, not looking very bad. Kiambu Road all clear today. Hakuna jam mingi. Nairobi leo ni kama hakuna mambo mingi, lakini ukiingia CBD from Thika Road as you joining towards Ngara, doesn't look very very nice. So if you can use alternative side towards Westlands, if you want to access Westlands as well, you can use you can tumia hiyo barabara. Watu wa Jogoo Road, the road is looking all clear. I'm not seeing any much traffic today. Lakini pale Mbotela kidogo kumeshikana from Eastern Apartments towards Uru Market, doesn't look very very good. So if you can use the other side of the road to joining in towards Uingie Lunga Enterprise Road, you join in through Bunyala, I think you'll be good and clear. Otherwise hakuna shida barabarani. Mombasa Road all clear as well. Nothing, I'm not seeing anything on the roads. So ni shida kidogo kwa Mombasa Road, there's nothing, all clear all the way mpaka Murorogo, ambapo ni shwari sana, barabara iko very clear. Kina watu gani hapa wako na shida kidogo towards Outer Ring Road on Embakasi, kumeshika kushika pale Taj Mall roundabout, going all the way towards Donholm. It's not looking very good. So if you can use alternative routes, the better for you. You can use the main road, Mombasa Road, na utafika nyumbani vizuri sana salama. Barabara na Airport North Road looking very nice, not looking very nice. So please, you can try and use alternative road as well. That is the traffic for you in the morning, and I hope you're able to clear the road. Unless kuna shida mahali ulipo, then I think it's all clear. Mwalisama, good morning to you, Emmanuel Serem. Ali Michael, good morning, watching live from Lord. Asante John Diki Warain, hi, all good day to you all. Asante Chris, thank good. Oh, about Mombasa Road. Mombasa Road is very clear. Chris, Mombasa Road is swafi kabisa. Mombasa Road is swafi. Mombasa Road kabisa leo. Mwanaweza enda vizuri. Kuna shida hiyo exchange hiyo expressway pale Capital Center kama kumeshikana kidogo. As we're moving towards Nyayo Stadium, it's all clear though. Ile traffic ya kawaida ya roundabout, the road looks very clear this morning. So ni shida barabarani. Kipchiti anasema getting you loud and clear from Nandi. Asante sana watu wa Nandi. Nasema getting us loud and clear from Nandi County. Please when you join us, please like, when you like, we get to know that you're watching us, and that like, please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to watch the broadcast. Please also let us know where you're watching us from this morning, and tuweza kujumuika pamoja. Kipchirchira wanasema getting loud and clear from Nandi. Mkwen Bon Perimo, Gerald VP brother, good morning to you Bon Perimo. It's a pleasure to have you this morning. Aya, magazeti sijui nasema jana, tunaanza na KU Land Saga, mambo ya KU. Wagewe kuna shida kidogo pale on the Standard, nasema on the Star. Aya, story ya kishamba KU ndio iko hapa. Key issues in KU Hospital Saga. The hospital to be run as an independent company. KU rejected the idea. Yes, so shule hospitali inaitwa Kenyatta University Hospital, lakini who is running it? It's being run as a company, as a private company. Haya, the hospital project was financed through a loan from Exim Bank of China, amounting to shillings 8.7 billion to be fully paid by March 2031. Haya, kipindi 8.1 billion from Exim Bank. President Uhuru Kenyatta signed the loan on behalf of KU when he was finance minister in June 2011. So isarakasi ilianza kitambo. Uhuru Kenyatta, apparently the minister of finance, signed the deal in June 2011. Akasema kwamba mtupe 8.9 bilioni tufungue hospitali. Alafu nani wanaweza kuendesha kama kampuni ya private. Haya, President Kenyatta gazetted the hospital as a parastatal under the Ministry of Health on January 2019. Okay. Haya, tumeanza 2011 tunachukua loan 8.9 billion from Exim Bank. 2019 tufanya nini? Gazette the hospital as a parastatal under the Ministry of Health in January. Okay. Professor Mugenda appointed the hospital chair in April 2019. Kunaendaje? VC kwa chairman, Professor Mugenda kwa chairman pale, chairperson because she's a lady. Okay. In April 2019. Haya, tunakuja KU Vice Chancellor and Council Representative kicked out of Kenyatta University something council in July 2021. Haya, September 2021, a National Assembly Committee said should revert to KU within 6 months. Hospitali ambayo ilikuwa inajengwa irudishwe kwa KU within 6 months. The story of the land saga surrounding Kenyatta University. I don't know what you think about this, but I think this country is a very interesting place to live in. Okay. You could never choose to live in another place. Give me your opinion on what you think about the KU land saga, and should the government proceed to acquire the land forcefully from Kenyatta University. Haya, mambo ya Omanyala pale, who is to blame for this mess? Omanyala jana kakosa visa. So the story is Omanyala will be getting to Oregon 2 hours to competition. Masaa mangapi? Mawili. With any slight delay, then it means that Omanyala will not be able to compete with his fellow competitors. So ataingia kwa uwanja peke yake. He'll be competing against time. Okay. 2 hours to a competition. That's when he'll be landing. The story is, several other people have been cleared who are not running. Kenyans who have been cleared are not running. They're not going to participate in any competition, lakini wamepewa kitu inaitwa clearance. Tayari wanaenda pale Oregon, wanafika mbele ya Omanyala. Meanwhile, Omanyala will be arriving 2 hours to a competition. Finding those guys that have all slept, they are very fresh. Na wamekunywa chai pale Oregon, na kwa tayari kukunywa chai ingine. Meanwhile, Omanyala will be arriving tired to race in 2 hours. Okay? We wish all the best, Omanyala. Battle for Parliament, nakaa pale kama siasa kidogo ya kuweza control Parliament between Raila Odinga and William Ruto on the Star. Raila tosha for top job. Uhuru's last minute game. Kenyatta's lined up series of a campaign for Azimio. Uhuru Kenyatta finally says he's going to participate in the national presidential campaigns. At first he had said that mimi naenda retire. Mimi naenda Katundu ishawiri. Sifanyi siasa, sitaambia mtu kura. Finally he's been seen on the streets. He's campaigning for his candidate Raila Odinga. Omanyala finally secures visa to travel to Oregon for global show. KNH dishing out unnecessary test report. And by the way, on the issues of the test report, there's a woman who has been taking antiviral drugs for how many years? For 6 good years. For misdiagnosis in a Kenyan hospital. Okay. Plan for political gathering of Mount Kenya leaders. Mamao ya mlima inarudiana siasa. Igada in tough climb to pinnacle of Nairobi politics. Ofisadi Karua Teresa. Inasemekana ya kwamba jana niliona Martha Karua alikuwa anakula handshake na Mike Sonko. And opinion shapers have said that then dents an image of Martha Karua who has been seen to be anti-corruption and have been seen to be pro-integrity. Okay, so I don't know what that means for Martha Karua, that she has been seen to be finally dining with those who have been accused of corruption and lack of integrity in leadership. Hatua ya Azimio kumkumbatia Sonko yatia shaka uwezo wake kupiga na ufisadi. Rais Uhuru Kenyatta juzi akasema ya kwamba I was very lenient. By the way, I was very lenient on those who are corrupt. Ngojeni Martha atawafunga. Martha atafunga nyinyi, mtajua mjui. Inasemekana ya kwamba Martha tayari is already dining with those who have been accused of corruption and even charged of corruption. Walimu wakuu wamulikwa, wizara ya tuma maafisa kuchunguza matumizi ya fedha. If you are a mwalimu, you have a reason to shiver because they are coming for you and they're saying that they want to take the audits of all the spendings that have been done by schools. Principals, mambo inaendelea kuharibika kidogo. Kama sabu yako is not entering each other, then you need to find a place to move in very quickly because the sabu ni mbaya. Kama sabu ni mbaya, they are coming for you. Mahoa anakuja. Jubilee yakopa 300 billion zaidi inapostaafu. So we are 23 days to the general election and the government is borrowing 300 billion. Serikali inaomba 300 billion, imekopa 300 billion. 28 days to general elections. Serikali ya kopa bilioni, muda wa Jubilee kutamatika ukikaribia. So sijui mambo vipi. Pale athari za ukame, and I think we are not having these conversations enough. There are Kenyans who are suffering and dying. As you can see there on the Taifa Leo, kuna athari za ukame, kuna Wakenya ambao wanaishi bila chakula, naishi kwa njia ngumu zaidi. Haya, the kings of rallies, of daily rallies, au ni watu wa people daily, wanasema Raila Odinga na William Ruto are targeting almost 80 rallies and 96, between 80 and 100 rallies within 22 days to general elections. So you're going to see how that will unfold as well. Relief as fuel subsidy kicks in. Our Raymond Texas farm collapsed. I don't know, do you guys remember blanketi ya Raymond? Kulikuwa na hili kwa blanketi ya Raymond. Kama ulijifunika na blanketi ya Raymond, then you need to understand more. So the story on how it failed. Vile ilianguka scandal. Sports bosses left athletes stranded. Wadosi wa mchezo waliweka mchezo kwa mchezo. Wakaacha wachezaji wabaki nyuma. Hao wadosi wenyewe wakaanza safari ya kwenda wapi? Ya kwenda pale Oregon, United States of America. I hope they are going to run. Wadosi wa mbio wa AK, please. I hope you guys are going to run. By the way, the AK chairman Bwana Tuwe as well alikosa kitu inaitwa visa. Hakuwa kwa list, alikosa visa. Okay? Mambo ndio hayo. Okay, Biden dumps Uhuru's trade pact with Trump. Inasemekana kwamba kulikuwa na makubaliano ya biashara ambayo ilikuwa imefanywa na Rais Uhuru Kenyatta na ule rais wa aliyeondoka Trump, na kasemekana kwamba Biden amekuja akasema no, I'm not doing this. Okay, that is it for you. Na mambo ya mashamba, we want to remind you that Optiven is giving you the best opportunity to get the properties at the best way possible. We have several properties on offer. Tuko pale Malindi Breeze and we're giving you at only 149,000 Kenya shillings per quarter. By the way, ya barabara ya kwenda ile safari unaendanga pale Mombasa, it can be your trip home, that is it, courtesy of Optiven. We also have several properties in Kajiado and Kitengela. Tuko na Victory Gardens, tuko na Happy Gardens pale Kitengela, unaweza pata kwa njia shwari zaidi. And the secret is you can actually get these properties at very flexible installments. But when you keep here, we have properties only 139,000 only. Many. Only 139,000. Unaweza kupata property yako kwa njia shwari zaidi. That's Optiven for you. Piga simu 0790-300-300 useme nimekutuma. Unaweza pata discount yako kwa njia shwari zaidi. Optiven, inspiring possibilities. Watu wa Eldoret, wale watu wa Nairobi pia, thank you so much for showing up on Saturday for us. Tulikuwa pale Eldoret tukipiga country muziki na Sir Elvis. Thank you so much guys for showing up and for supporting us. We really appreciate you. May God bless you abundantly. And we'll also be able to show up for you when the time comes in. For 99 only, that is Malindi Breeze. Na ukikuja pale, ananyuki tunakupana 149 shillings. For 149,000 shillings only, courtesy of Optiven. Aya, tunaingia kazi haraka upesi. Nione. Ngona bambuka. Mambo ya shamba sijui mnasemaje. But let me look at Jinx Jamu from LA. Asante sana komena. Unasema Wajakoya the 5th. Okay. Let me keep up Kembai following live from Cabernet. I'm talking about Wajakoya the 5th. There's a guy who was arraigned in court in Eldoret. Akauliza kwa nini unavuta fagi? Akasema I vuta fangi because I want to get courage to campaign for Wajakoya. Na akasema if Wajakoya becomes president, then it means I'll be a big farmer. All right, I think that is enough. That's enough demonstration of the danger and the impact of such a narrative. Okay. Jen Wanjiru watching, asante sana. Frederick watching Kabala, asante. Diana Andrews, good morning from the Green Town, asante. Vivian Williams, good morning. Ilan Nyambo, good morning, live from Muranga Kangema leo. Asante Timothy, watching from Eton EMC. Badia Karanja, good morning, General. Good morning to you, my brother. Karoki Wamasi, watching from Kayole, Nairobi. Frida Kwamboka, Ruta, all the way, okay? Asante. Osoro Maboka, the mess Uru has put us into will take at least 5 decades to correct, but as usual, forming our mouths left, right, and center in support of these thieves. Okay, Joel Arama, those guys who paid 2 million for the visa should be arrested on the spot. There are things the Constitution should address, like borrowing on the last year of presidential tenure, leave alone days to elections. Amen. Interesting country. And I think we begin on that note, Bwana Wakili. Mambo ya madeni jameni. So, the Jubilee government imeomba 308 billion, yes, as it's going on. Yes. What do you make of that?
I think it's just the continuation of Jubilee's bad economic policies. Okay. Because Parliament is not sitting. Mm-hmm. Where did they get the authorization to take that debt? Mm-hmm. And what is this 300 billion shillings meant for? Okay. And ideally, at the point when you are exiting as an administration, you should not overcommit the incoming administration. Okay. So that in the remaining 3 weeks in office, what else can Jubilee do that they've not done in the last 10 years, so to speak? So I don't think that this kind of borrowing is responsible. Even like connected to those other appointments which were done last week. Those are politically irresponsible acts of an outgoing administration. At the point of exit, you should let it to the new administration to put its house in order, make appointments, look into its budget books, make a decision on borrowing, if need be, and plan itself economically without being hampered by the acts of an outgoing administration. Yes.
All right, so what was madeni? Anyway.
Kwa sasa watu wachana na madeni. Waache kukopa kama wanatoka. Walishakopa ya kutosha. Yes.
Okay. Omanyala yesterday is missed his visa. And the reason why he missed it said, they said, and you are not in the list.
And it was the purpose for
the event. Ni kama wewe usemekane ati huko kwa harusi yako.
Harusi ni yake and yet is not there. It tells you our bad habits as a country. That somebody can come up with a list to go to a sport event where the main actors are not participating. It's quite unfortunate. This happened in Rio. Remember the Rio Olympic scandal? Where those who the administrative staff were more than the athletes who are going to Rio. Some people were actually charged for that offense, including the then Minister for Sports, Wario. Unfortunately, the court just fined him. He was not given a prison sentence when he was convicted. Other people are convicted and sentenced to prison terms. a lesson should be learned from even that event. And for Manyala's case, it's quite sad that he's going to arrive 2 hours.
Imagine to a competition.
2 hours.
You're arriving 2 hours to a race.
You're not even sure there'll be traffic when you land. You're not sure whether at the airport, everything must move so fast from the point of landing. That you should not even have more than 5 people ahead of you at the immigration. Because if immigration stalls for a few minutes, he may not even make it to the venue. And that is quite unfortunate because he was the main Kenyan sensation in this event for at this particular time. Because we've never had for the longest time a champion short distance runner in the mold of Omanyala. So it will be quite shameful if the spectators arrive before the athlete for whom we are going to participate. Yes.
But what does that say as well about our management as a country, our management ethics as a country? Because how do you explain, man? Yani umekaa tu mahali umetumana list kabisa. Yani kuna mtu alikuwa amekaa kwa desk. Mtu alikaa kwa desk akaandika list, akaandika kile kitu akasema tunaenda Oregon race. Mtu tunapeleka ni anaenda kukimbia ni mtu anaitwa Omanyala. Yani akakaa kabisa akadraft list akatuma email. Akasema American Embassy, hereby we are sending you a list of a team that's going to Oregon. But
Junior Omanyala kuna.
Less Omanyala.
Wanapeleka nani? It speaks to lack of ethics. And in the sport ministry in particular, it has perfected the art of management by crisis. Everything is always a crisis. One team or another is struck at an airport, cannot get off the ground to participate at an event. It's always crisis level. Then the unfortunate bit is that at some point now you see the president comes up and starts saying how he's intervened, now it has happened. We don't need his intervention. We need his government to work. The fact that it has to take him to intervene for Manyala to get his visa is an indictment that government that is heading is not working. And that minister is incompetent. Omanyala's case should have been the best example for even if there was any action to be taken by the executive at this point, to sack that minister. Fire that minister at this point before you leave. At least as a last final act to athletes in this country who have long suffered in that ministry at the expense of joyriders who attend international feats and events when athletes cannot even find their way to those venues. Yes. Watu wanaenda kula pa DM na mwenye anakimbia hata haonekani yako wapi. And you get one person pengine pa DM for one day. The US, they're earning between 50,000 to 100,000 per day. The athlete himself who is going to participate will be earning 5,000 shillings per DM, if at all they give him. And they hope that he gets whatever is going to be paid by the race organizers. It's bad. It's totally bad. And it's the young people who, as our party we represent, they are the people who are mostly affected by this bad decision, the Ministry of Sports. And it pains us as Safina party that this has been the face of Jubilee in the last 10 years. If it's not Omanyala, it is always, you'll find rugby, you'll find the problem with volleyball, the problem with netball, you'll find it with the Harambee Stars, Harambee Starlets. Everybody in sport at one point or another has come to terms with what Omanyala has gone through this time. Yes.
And the thing is, this thing of, let it sink first. Then you show up, you become Jesus. You say, guys, you have no idea how you were thinking. You have no idea you were thinking. Until me, the president, I showed up, or the minister, I intervened with this thing. You guys, you have no idea how bad it was.
You caused the problem.
Let's get me now. They primed Omanyala. So Omanyala comes out and says, guys, you have no idea what has been going on in the background. Mujui kile waziri amekuwa akifanya. And waziri had all the days for the list. And people have been cleared. I mean, this thing, this savior culture of Kenyan leadership. That okay, fine, ngojeni kwanza. Ngojeni ingie kwa maji. Imemeza maji kiasi gani? Is it almost dying? Okay, fine. Pull it out. Now we are Jesus. What the hell is that?
That's just part of their PR, as I've told you. This has been the bane of Jubilee. Every time it's a crisis after crisis, there's no planning. So that when, I believe in that Ministry of Sports, when they're sitting down to plan for the Oregon meet, top of the agenda of the people in the room was, how much per diem are we going to earn? So and who is going to be part of that entourage. That was top of the agenda. Not how many athletes are going.
Swala nyeti ni padiem ni ngapi?
Padiem ni ngapi?
Kwanza na hapo.
Na kama tunaenda pengine the whole thing will take us 2-3 days. I think because of travel and all, let's make it 10 days. People are earning 1 million minimum each just to go and see Omanyala run. And yet Omanyala himself has not left the ground. And they don't care about it. That is the bad behavior of Jubilee. The last 10 years has been a problem to the people of Kenya. I mean, Omanyala relax, then he arrives there. Utafika tu.
We will intervene. We shall intervene. Whatever it will take, we shall intervene. You will arrive. Usijali. Utafika, utakimbia. So Omanyala actually must actually be forced to run alone. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Watu wamekimbia wamemaliza. Sasa wewe you are running against yourself.
So umefika ingia tu tufanye time.
How demoralizing is that?
How many seconds are you able to...
How demoralizing is that? Is that and you know we having even athletes who are moving to other countries because they feel that is where their profession is appreciated more. And I saw people yesterday were challenged and said, you know, Manyala, maybe you just need to go to a run for another country who respects what you do. Is that the reason why we also have a brain drain that we have as a country, that professionals prefer to move to other countries where they feel their art is respected more?
Yes, it plays a big role. I happen to have observed, for example, sports development in Egypt, where they start nurturing sports at a tender age of 5. They have a very comprehensive program to build their sportsmen, whether it's swimming, football, the indoor athletic games. But in Kenya, athletes and sportsmen, they develop on their own. People have talent. There's no government intervention to help them nurture that talent.
Pambana nayo
vile unakumbuka that guy, the javelin guy. Julius Yego. Yeye anachukua tu mshale na kukimbia nayo mpaka akajifundisha kwa YouTube. And he got it. There is no government program that is meant to help nurture talent. And that attitude goes even when now they finally emerge as viable and strong sportsmen. Omanyala, nobody knew about Omanyala. He has been training on his own. He's worked on his own training regime and competitive regime. He's now become successful. Government wants to own the success, but not to own the person. That is why it is easier for them to leave him behind as they go to Oregon. Because what they are writing down on their papers as they go to Oregon, we are going to showcase the Kenyan talent, that talent which they've left behind. Because they were never part of the talent development of Omanyala and many other sports people. So it is sad that people sometimes have to consider even changing nationality or acquiring dual nationality to go to countries where sportsmen are recognized and given adequate state support. But all is not lost. Jubilee's time is up. They only have less than 3 weeks in office. They will go and you will get a more responsible government that cares for the young people of Kenya. And I always say that is the Safina government, Safina Party of Kenya. Safi sana na Wanjigi.
Safi sana. Yes. Meli, Safina ya Noah.
No, Meli ya Noah. Imekuja kwa wana Kenya wote.
I am talking about Jesus mentality and savior mentality. President Uhuru Kenyatta, juzi there was a shortage. There was a looming shortage of fuel. I was in Eldoret. Na nikapata, even when I was traveling, magari bana zimepanga lane zingia hapo to the station. There's a fuel shortage. Very artificial because the dealers walikuwa wamesikia kabei kanaongezwa kanakuwa 186, I think around thereabouts, or 191 thereabouts. So they say, okay, ikidogo tuko nayo tufungie, we can get money, triple, something like that. Until Papa Uhuru Kenyatta showed up and says, hey, guys, ladies and gentlemen, you have no idea how this thing was going to get messed. I have released 100 billion as a subsidy to save you guys from the sinking Safina ya Kenya. Safina ya Kenya. No. Safina ya Kenya.
These are the floods. These are the floods. Safina is the savior.
So sasa ina sink kwa sababu iko na mashimo mingi. Hii ya Kenya, si ya Safina ya chama. Hii ya Kenya. Anasema nyinyi wangwana hamna habari. Ile kitu nimewafanyia ni release 100 billion to save you guys. So you'll be safe for 30 days. 100 billion. Okay, so what these gentlemen are not telling us is, okay, you're saying you're subsidizing. But before you subsidized, you also collected levies.
Yes.
You're not telling us how much levies you collected. And from where you've removed the 100 billion to tell us you've subsidized, you ni kama harambe. Tumewachangia, alafu kasema sasa wangwana wachangi, ile pesa umechanga hivi na rudisha hii. You're not telling us what's remaining. So these few are politics around it. What do you think about it? Is it a tool that has been used to mentally manage Kenyans?
Of course, I believe it's two things at play. Number one is the greed of the state operatives. Greed in the sense that those who are benefiting, the fuel cartels, who are supported by political players. Then there's also what you've said, political management. That we, through our greed, we cause a crisis because we are greedy. So we cause a crisis, then we will come back to gain political mileage. So they benefit twice. They benefit from the theft, then they benefit from the mileage. That we've intervened to address the problem, which we are the ones who have caused. Because we are in the fuel situation that we are in today because of the bad economic policies that Jubilee has been implementing. It is their bad policies that have brought us to where we are. Even these subsidies that they're coming up with, are they even sustainable in the long term? Or is it just now a subsidy that you come up with today for purpose of the elections? Then from September 1st, you revert now to, you remove all the subsidies, then you mess up everybody. So there are interventions which are not informed at all by an economic quest or economic policy considerations. They are informed by the greed that they want to benefit from the fuel crisis that is caused. And then number two, they want to also gain political mileage through Panadol reaction. They probably give you paracetamol to puliza kichwa.
Anakupiga kofi alafu anaambia at least tumekupea Panadol.
Nimekupea Panadol.
Na mimi mtu mbaya sana.
That's the political mileage they want to get benefit from. Then post the election, what happens? Because you cannot keep bandaging a wound without applying any treatment. The wound will fester. And that's what they're doing. Before we go to the real issue why our oil sector is in a mess. What are the policies that this government's administration is implementing? This subsidy is going to fail. Already IMF, if you remember, they had indicated they are going to withhold more funding to Kenya based on the fact that the Kenya government has not met some of the conditions. And I think also the base lending rate has gone up. So with IMF, for example, withdrawing their lending to Kenya in the short term or long term, what will be the impact? Because if they are to ever come back, they'll say, remove all the subsidies. We need to know the state of this economy. Let the market forces settle everything. So you'll see this fuel that you're paying now at 150 may go even up to 200 shillings per litre. That is when now you say you'll be able to tell what the market forces are. The shilling to the dollar. What will be the exchange rate? If we leave it now to market forces to determine, what will be the inflation rate at that point? So, and these are issues which, as I keep saying, have been brought because of a government that never had an economic plan from the beginning. These were economic saboteurs who came to benefit for themselves, just enrich themselves, and in the process, to impoverish the rest of Kenyans. And they've succeeded. I mean, if that was their TOR, we are poorer than we were 10 years ago. They are richer than they were 10 years ago. Anybody in Jubilee is richer than they were 10 years ago. And every other Kenyan is poorer today than he was 10 years ago. And even if you think you've gained some little wealth, you've gained, whatever you may have gained as an ordinary Kenyan is 10 times less than what you could have gained in a working administration. Yes.
So where is the turnaround around the fuel issues? Because now, considering at the landing prices, and what exactly makes the fuel prices expensive? But already, what is the solution around it?
Already even the government subsidies themselves. I mean, the government taxes. I think 55% of what is on the price, the pump price, goes to government in one form or another as tax or levies. So government itself is overtaxing that sector. But you ask yourself, why such a high rate of taxation on the fuel sector? Some of them, you'll find there's the railway development levy as one of the line items on that, on fuel. It goes to RDL to support SGR. Again, another vanity project. A vanity project in the sense that you are now collecting money from Kenyans every time they go to the pump station to support another project that cannot pay for itself, cannot sustain itself. It's every day that train runs from Nairobi to Mombasa and back, it's a loss. In fact, you're actually pumping money into it to make it run. Yet you are coming to the same Kenyans to force them to pay the RDL, to maintain that operation. So you see, if you want to make a real change in this situation, you start to go to the basics. That this 55% of what we are taking out of the fuel price, pump price as tax, where is it going? Some of them, like SGR, actually, good government will simply say, no. I mean, we are doing away this SGR. So the railway development levy itself also goes away. So you mean it starts reducing the cost of the pump price that Kenyans are going to face. So you go further deep to look at if there are any other components of the tax in fuel that we don't need to put on that item, or maybe even spread it to another sector, remove it. So you find a responsible way of reducing the cost of fuel that is sustainable and that's also beneficial to the people of Kenya. But it cannot just be that you are overcharging them for fuel, then you still go back and claim you're subsidizing that fuel. I mean, there's a big 55% of the fuel cost is your money. You're collecting as a tax. Then you come back again and say, I'm subsidizing. I've subsidized it. So why are you over-collecting?
Wachana na hiyo unasema una collect.
Wachana na hiyo.
Wacha mafuta ingie Wakenya wavuruta mafuta na 50 bob. Maisha isonga.
Yes. Why is fuel cheaper in Uganda than it is in Kenya? Or Ethiopia? And those are landlocked countries.
Haya.
Government taxes.
Mambo ya shamba ya KU. Masikia hiyo story?
Hiyo story ni mbaya sana. No, one person that have my man of the month are two people. Man of the month, men of the month. Professor Wainaina and Professor Migo Tadola. You know, when you are appointed to a public institution, you are holding a public trust.
Yes.
It's not your personal property or venture. And whatever you are doing it for the benefit of the people.
For the public good.
For the public good. Now, if Kenyatta University is asked to surrender almost half of the original land that it owns, in a capricious manner, you are being told over cabinet meetings, cabinet memo. The procedure of government acquiring land is so elaborate. It is so clear. There are processes that people go through. If government wanted to acquire KU's land, they should have followed that due process of the law. When that cabinet sat down to discuss that they are going to exercise part of KU land, they didn't even bother to invite KU itself, the landowner, to attend a meeting with them and explain to them or even inform them before the meeting that this is our plan to exercise part of your land. What do you propose? Is it even available in the first place? Because it may not even be available.
Yes.
So here you have a responsible cabinet in its last years decides to sit down and make a recommendation to exercise a public institution's land. Then the head of public service, without following the due process of acquiring land if they so desired, just tries to KU and surrender your title. We are going to give it to squatters. We are going to give it to Africa CDC, part of it to WHO. There are so many international organizations that are housed by public institutions. Nothing will have stopped, for example, WHO from signing a memorandum of understanding with KU to host them. So KU will provide the land, they build the facility, they are housed, and they engage in an exchange program that is mutually beneficial to WHO and also the people of Kenya through KU as a training hub. But there's mischief in this. KU land, the long and short of it, the mischief is that somebody somewhere definitely wanted to grab land belonging to KU. And that is why there is no desire to involve the National Land Commission, no desire to involve the United University Administration in a discussion that involves partitioning of its personal.
That involves them?
Yes. It doesn't involve them. They are not even part of the conversation. They're just being told hand over the title deed. We are going to take this number of acres. You don't even know which part they're going to take. Which can, you see, sometimes, and it was very shameful, that on the day when the president was launching the WHO project, that's when this thing came out. That actually there's a problem, there's a tussle between the executive and the university over the land. you will have expected that day should have just been left to WHO issues, the project. He shouldn't have brought up the issue of this tussle of land. But at least it's good. Maybe God spoke through him to let the rest of us Kenyans know that they are trying to illegally acquire land belonging to the university. And he had to speak the way he did. And now everybody's attention was on, okay, what is this about the land? And you see, that's captured the imagination of Kenyans.
Yes.
And Migo Tadola, for standing strong, standing firm, and writing a terse letter to Mr. Kenya that, no, we are not going to surrender any land. In fact, if you asked us, we will explain to you how we are going to use every inch of the land that Kenyatta University holds. That's the kind of attitude that public administrators should have. That don't be awed by power. Your responsibility is to the people and the institution which you serve, not to another individual, whether he is the head of civil service, whether he is what in the political structure. He's not your employer. He's just merely also another representative of the people, exercising a public good. So people should be able to tell them, no, we are not going to allow it. Just follow the law if you want to acquire it compulsorily. Because part of following the law, there's the due process. That if you don't follow the due process, we can always go back to court and have those titles cancelled. And maybe also I think President Uhuru is living in the past. You know, during the Kenyatta Moi days, the president could says land and the rights. And you know, the courts have declared some of those presidential transfers of lands to be unconstitutional. Many of them, in fact. The High Court said the president didn't even have the power to excise land in the first place and transfer land in the first place. So what they're trying to do with KU is quite unfortunate. We need to nurture our universities to the next level. And our population is growing as a country. The universities also will have to expand.
Yes.
Because KU, as it was 20 years ago, is not the same as KU as it is today. And look ahead 20 years forward. What will be the needs of KU at that particular point? So it's even, I hear some people responsibly saying that, no, that land is idle. It's not idle. Land is an asset. It's a bank. It's a banked asset for the university.
And talking about land, how many acres of idle land do we have in this country?
If we really wanted land, if the idea was purely just that we wanted land, we wanted land for WHO, for those quotas, for Africa CDC. There's so much land in this country. And there are so many people with parcels of land that they could have easily offered the government through a compulsory acquisition scheme to set up these projects. The particular interest with the KU, that is where the devil lies.
It's suspicious.
Yes, that is where the devil lies. The devil lies in the details. Why this particular one? Why not even here in Namanga? Your way to Namanga, there's so many. Yeah, shamba iko kubwa. Kubwa sana.
Why?
Mbona hii tu ya Thika Road hii karibu na Northlands hii naenda hii ndio wanataka. So hii Namanga. There are many universities setting up on the way to road to Namanga.
Isinya
iko shamba kubwa ekari. Na hiyo karibu na Savo. So hata wazungu wakikuja wanaona wanyama pia wakienda Savo. Mbona tu hii hapa ndio hii.
Ndio weka wazungu kwa lami.
Hata yuko tunaanza lami tu. Lami iko ya kwenda Isinya. Mbona hii?
The Jungus will be happier. Okay, mbona. Inchi ni inchi ya mbona. Haya, sawa. And finally, the thing is, statistics, finally the State of the Nation statistics are pointing at a very sharp and worrying increase of HIV infections among teenagers and young people between 15 years and 30 years. What did I just say? A sharp, worrying increase of infections among teenagers. Unajua teenagers ni karan from 15 years. You know, can you imagine your child is 15 years? Is HIV positive. Okay? Na si la kuinheritiwa ya kutafuta mwenyewe between 15 to 30 years. I don't know, what does that mean to you, sir? And what do you think is the problem?
No. One thing that is, if you notice, in our days when we were teenagers, the National AIDS Control Council was a very vocal advocacy tool in the country. They were all over, in the media, in our schools, just teaching us, raising awareness on HIV/AIDS, the risks.
Yes.
In the recent past, we've not seen as much effort or attention being paid to HIV/AIDS awareness campaigns as it was being done back in the day. And the young people today are exposed to, there's a lot of downloads from the internet. Sexuality is easily available on their phones. So if there was ever any time that government, or let's say society generally, ought to have doubled down on raising awareness on the dangers of HIV/AIDS, it was now, even more than it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago when we were teenagers. For the simple reason that there are so many other sources of information to young people on sexuality that glorifies sexuality or sexual conduct than there are offering them educational material and educating them on risks of unprotected sex or responsible sexual behavior. And that is now why, in my view, I believe you see that demographic that you've targeted. This is a group that has never, in my view, been taken through an intensive awareness campaigns on responsible sexual behavior and the risks of HIV/AIDS as a pandemic. They seem to have maybe accepted it as your normal malaria or COVID. You live with it. But siku zetu AIDS was not something you
joke with.
No. I mean, it was drilled in us from primary. This disease that has come, and the education was intensive.
And the images.
Yes. If you remember. And it was weekly. A constant drumming in our heads. You must engage. You can't engage in responsible sexual behavior. You must keep
not even ABC. Any sexual.
It was ABC. Abstained. Then when we went to high school, be faithful. C, use a condom. Or D, death. But these young people are not. If I ever went
they even fear pregnancy more than.
Yeah, that's true. They do. Yeah, they don't. Because they don't see there's a problem. They just think it's just like COVID or malaria. I mean, I can live with it. So, and yet at the same time, remember, they're exposed to more sexual content than we were.
Yes, than we are.
Because they're able to access YouTube. There's a lot of sexual material. Go to Facebook, go to YouTube, go to Twitter, Instagram. Everything is glorifying sexual acts.
Okay. When you early leave here, so make sure that you can speak to your children, because clearly now, kila mtu anapambana na hali yake. So whatever you can get, get an opportunity to speak to your children, tell them about, the dangers of sexual behavior, irresponsible that is. Because I was hearing a conversation this morning, and they were saying that our teenagers are even having more sex than us, the parents. Can you imagine? Tuambie mambo ya safari yenu ya kotini. Moving on very quickly, Safina party has been in a fight with Iebc on its lack of approval. They have been stopped from running. They have gone to court. They were at the High Court. The case again was thrown out last week. I don't know which move you're going to make again, Mukubwa or Willis. But the thing is, I don't know what it says. And the reason why I themed it yesterday as law or animal farm. Because when you look at the backdrop of approvals that are going on, if the person is getting a clearance on this or the other basis. Now, what has this journey been like?
Now, you see, the interesting thing about this is that, let me start from the beginning. On the 6th of June, His Excellency Jimmy appeared before Chebukati to be cleared as a candidate. And Chebukati refused. And he said he didn't have a degree certificate. He said specifically a certificate. He wants a physical copy of the certificate. And 1 week, 7 days before, 6 days earlier, he had cleared another candidate. Because what was the law on that day? The law was that once you've completed a university education, you have a completion letter. You've satisfied the requirements for that degree. You don't need to have a certificate a physical copy of the certificate for us to say you're a graduate, you have a degree. And the courts had discussed this issue and said that is the meaning of Section 22 of the 2 of the Elections Act. So that was the law. And Chebukati with his entire team of legal team panel, wa mawakili wakubwa, they cleared Nyambane because that was the law. And think until the super returning officer called Chebukati on the night before Jimmy appeared that I don't want Jimmy on the ballot. The super returning officer said that I don't want Jimmy on the ballot.
Who is a super returning officer?
Chebukati just the face. There's a super returning officer. We don't know where he sits, but he exists.
There's a ghost.
A ghost returning officer. I'm coming to ghost polling stations. So Chebukati decides, now what do we use to stop him? Then now they start eating their words that he didn't have a degree certificate. Let's ask him for a certificate. Not the way we cleared Nyambane. So after that, after refusing to clear Jimmy, he proceeded, on the same day, to set up a tribunal, a dispute resolution committee for Iebc. And he appointed the chairman of that committee, one George Murugu, to be the chairman, his own lawyer. His own lawyer with whom they were hounding. There's an old man from Mombasa, serious activist, called Hele Khalifa. He had sued Chebukati for contempt of court. Murugu and Chebukati went to the High Court when LF lost the case. They went to the High Court asking the High Court that LF should pay them 30 million. 30 million Kenya shillings. So Chebukati appoints his co-conspirator against LF to be the chairman to hear the case that Jimmy has against him. His own lawyer. They are together joined, claiming 30 million shillings from LF Khalifa. That is the one he's made the chairman. But for good measure, they went to the High Court. That amount was reduced to 200,000 from 30 million to 200,000. So, so we go back to, he makes his own lawyer. So when you go before this chairman, of course, what do you expect if is Chebukati's close buddy who they are hounding LF with to get 30 million out of nothing? Of course, he was going to rule the way. And this guy doesn't even say that he's Chebukati's lawyer. He hides it. He doesn't declare the conflict of interest or the bias. He keeps quiet. It only comes out to us later, on the day when they're issuing the determination. And he knew this all along. So you'll have expected a prudent lawyer or a judicial law, somebody exercising quasi-judicial powers, to come up and say, no. In this case that you have, since Chebukati is the respondent, I have a conflict of interest. I have to declare it. So that you make a representation that you want me to continue presiding or you are not comfortable with me presiding. Then we can have somebody else to preside. He didn't do that. So we went to the High Court after the decision of the tribunal. The High Court refused to consider the case on its merits. The court, in fact, said we cannot fault the tribunal for its interpretation of the law. So that even if the tribunal was wrong, I don't think we should fault it. So it refused to hear the case on its merits. We went to the Court of Appeal, and they went to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal also just told us, no, we're not going to upset the decision of the High Court. We'll give you reasons on 29th. But they gave us the judgment. So we've now gone to the Supreme Court. We want the Supreme Court to finally hear this matter. This is a dispute related to a presidential election. And ideally, it even belongs to where it is now, the Supreme Court. So these are some of the questions we are going to canvass before the Supreme Court. That what was the law in relation to holders of university degrees as at the 6th of June? What was the law? And according to us, the law was what the High Court had said is the interpretation and the meaning of Section 22, that anybody who has completed studies has qualified to contest. That was the law, according to us. And the decision of the High Court was binding on Chebukati and his tribunal. So these are the questions we'll ask the Supreme Court to consider. If they don't listen to us, I mean, it's within their powers to make a decision. We don't know what decision they're going to make. But our political quest does not end. As we believe that the last 10 years have been 10 years of pain to the people of Kenya. And Jubilee has been the worst thing that ever happened to us as a people of Kenya. In fact, worse than, some people even used to think that Moi was bad. Jubilee is worse. Moi was an angel in the eyes of Jubilee. Moi did everything within budget. Jubilee is so bad. Jubilee is so bad. Lakini compared to Moi, Jubilee is so bad and tainted. And if you look at the formation in this election, you have Jubilee on once. Jubilee has mutated into Azimio. The chairman is Uhuru Kenyatta, who was the Jubilee party leader. And Kenya Kwanza, where the party leader is William Ruto, who was the deputy party leader of Jubilee. So Jubilee is trying to succeed, it's continue itself now in different. It has just become like amoeba. Imejipendekeza pande mbili. Imeenda ikashika Raila hivi, pengine ikashika Mkina Mudavadi, inajira Kenya Kwanza, inajira Azimio pande hii. Na ni ile tu. So what I'm saying is that, remember how we started, that the economic policies of Jubilee have brought us to where we are today. We are poorer today than we were 10 years ago. How do we continue on the same trajectory? It cannot. And that is why, as with Jimmy, we came up with our Safina. This is the vessel that is going to save the people of Kenya from the economic turmoil that is coming, that Jubilee has put us in. And let me tell you this, just to demonstrate that Jubilee, Azimio and Kenya Kwanza are the same. When Azimio speaks, they say tutapea vijana 6,000 shillings per month. When William Ruto speaks, he says tutapea mama mboga 10 billion Kenya. It is about distribution politics. That is the anchor of Jubilee. Distribution politics. That tutapea, just distributing. They think the problem is that the money is there, just about kupeana tu. Us, on the other hand, we are about production politics. As a production economy. Our campaign is premised on how do we create and bake a bigger cake for everybody. We are not going to limit a Kenyan by giving him 6,000. Your limit is only 6,000. Or your limit as Mama Mboga is only 10 billion. You share amongst yourselves. Maybe you are 10 million Mama Mbogas, you've been given 10 billion. How much is that? And to just give you one example. Lagos market. Lagos as a city, as state, has almost 20 million people. They import the bulk of their vegetables from Europe. If we were just to say, in our policy, now as a Safina, what we are saying, we are going to use AFTA trade agreement to open up new markets for our products. So we can say, let's follow AFTA and land our vegetables in the Lagos market every morning. So we go to our markets, go to our farms, those who are farming fresh produce. Government facilitates that you have access to the Lagos market. So every morning, you have a cargo flight, one leaving from Wilson, one leaving from JKI, to land at Lagos market. Every day. Do you know how much money those market women will make? Or even those farmers will make? It will be limitless. It will not be quantified as 6,000 per month. It can't be quantified as 10 billion. Because that economy is 20 million, a market of 20 million strong. You are landing. In fact, the problem will be after 6 months, we will not have enough to take. The demand
pesa itakuwa
mingi. That is why us tunasema we are about production, value add. Let me give you another example. Watu pesa? Wanashindwa. Watapeleka wapi pesa mingi yote? Hata bank watawaambia ati pesa account imejaa, toeni na kufungua account nyingine. Look at, for example, our teachers. Let me speak to teachers. The region where we are in, it's called the neighboring Sahel region. We lack what we call English-speaking teachers. The other day I heard Magoa saying that B.Ed education is a useless course, we don't need it. I mean, that's an irresponsible statement. What we should be looking at is how we train our teachers. And they need teachers. We need to train our teachers and open for them opportunities within the region. Because Ethiopia, they don't have English-speaking teachers. Djibouti, they don't have. Sudan, they don't have. Somalia, they don't have. Somaliland, they don't have. Eritrea, they don't have. They're looking for them. So export, take some of our teachers to these regions. And what you end up doing is this. Because that Sahel region alone is 200 million. The population is around 250 million. What you end up achieving is this. If you take a Kenyan teacher to teach a child in Djibouti, that child has the formative years. He looks up and he's seeing a Kenyan teacher. That's the first person who is influencing his young mind. He starts thinking that everything good comes from Kenya.
Because the teacher, that is how the British colonized us. They bring you a teacher and who is also a preacher. So you start looking at London and Britain as great. So even us, we must send our teachers to this region and we capture them young.
Okay.
We showing the greatness of Kenya through our teachers. Then, because in the future, even as we are still rolling out our program, we are guaranteed that in the future, when these young people become policy makers in their own countries, they look up to Kenya. They'll say everything Kenyan is great because we are who we are because of Kenya. That's a market. As we are about getting new markets, opening opportunities for people, either as professionals or as businessmen. That is what the Safina mantra is all about. We are about production economy, not
distribution economy. There's nothing to distribute.
Hakuna wamechukua wamekopa. Out of every 100 shillings that Kenya government revenue collects,
65 shillings goes to debt payment. 65. They are left with 35. Of that 35, they need 35 shillings to pay salaries. They've spent the entire 100. They need 30 shillings for OPEX. They need 15 shillings for counties. So it means every month they are borrowing. Hakuna pesa, so what are you going to distribute? Huh? And that is Jubilee for you. Jubilee, when it came to power, Kibaki was paying out of every 100 shillings collected, they were paying 18 shillings to debt. So they had a cool 82 shillings to spend on operations, salaries, and development. That was a step. I mean, if your banker knows that you have so much money like that, they're the ones begging you to borrow. Now it is us begging people to borrow, give us money. Because they know this one is a failed state. Can't live within your means. You're living on debts. When people see you driving a nice Subaru, kumbe tu ni deni tu. Hii hata si deni tupu tu, hata wezi jinunulia pombe. If it was a human being.
Unakaa kidogo naambiwa kwa jaba na shuka.
Shuka.
But I want us to take us back to the process you're talking about, of course, about what the process, the legal process that you've been able to go as Safina party. Mahali ilianzia, mahali imefika, mahali mnaelekea, mnaenda Supreme Court, and what the result will be. But now, taking it back, what has been this very main reason that wamesema ya kwamba nyinyi you cannot run kabisa because of this and that?
The main reason
what is the legal back?
The main reason is they are saying they want to see a copy of a university certificate, degree certificate. Our argument is very simple. You do not need a physical copy of a degree certificate. The Easter University was a party to our case. Before the tribunal. The Easter came to court and said, this was our student. He finished school. He was amemaliza kila kitu. He was due to graduate in May, but we postponed our graduation to November. In fact, he's now been admitted to a master's program. He's doing his master's. He's finished his first year master's. The Easter wamesema, he's finished. He's a master's student.
Tukiongea sahi.
Hajamaliza first year. Yeye anaendelea kumalizia sekendia sasa. Nataka kuanza sekendia. Ya masters. So Desta already is telling you he's finished, he's a graduate. We've admitted him to the next level. You can't be admitted to a master's program without a degree in the bachelor's degree. But Chebukati is insisting on a physical piece of paper.
Anataka ceremony alivaa.
Lazima uvae nguo na upige picha na watu wa villagers wakuje na hizo mashanga wakoke kwa shingo.
Wakunywe soda.
Wapige shangwe na vigelegele. Ndio waseme But and one thing that I say that is quite sad, that these are issues which the courts had been called upon before to consider. In two cases. One in Joe case. Joe amemaliza kazi za governor. Joe never produced a copy of his degree certificate. Never. And Baka Saya hajawahi produce. All he produced was a completion letter and a confirmation from CUE that the course is recognized, he has finished. That was enough. IEBC, in fact, was defending Joe's position, and the High Court agreed with them. Then there was the case of Mabul Murul in Kakamega, done by Justice Ogola. Again, the court said, no. Once you've completed your studies, you are the universal definition of a graduate is someone who has concluded, has completed his degree course. In fact, a graduate is someone who has completed the degree course is called a graduate. A graduand is one who has completed, who has attended, who is about to attend a graduation ceremony. So you become a graduate first before you become a graduand. Graduate, you completed the course.
So graduate mwenye maliza shule.
Yule maliza shule tu graduate.
Graduate mwenye anavaa koti.
Anavaa koti ni graduate. Huyo ndio anaitwa graduate mwenye amevaa koti. So what we want in the Elections Act wanted was a graduate, not a graduand. Chebukati ana insist anataka graduand. So we went to court.
Sasa mngeenda tu na hiyo kitu muenda mvalie hapo.
Tumvalie hiyo tumpatie. Yakisema pada.
Nakwambia.
Nende muite villagers. Wakuje kupige picha kwanza na soda.
Sio villagers, even mama villager. Ningefika hapo.
Mngekuja na soda la mkate.
Kuja na soda na mkate. Bovlo. Kule kwa kiwanja hapo Bomas.
Na zile shiny.
Tuko na graduate. Ile maua ya shiko.
Maua ya shiko
baba. Can nobles maua mama hapa kidogo. If they want a graduate.
If they want a graduate, yes. That's the unfortunate thing. So we went to court, and you see, and the sad bit about it is that the courts are not willing. They are showing an attitude that they are not willing to hear this case on its merits. They don't want to hear it. In fact, up to now, the case, Jimmy's case, has not been heard on its merits. People have just been shifting goalposts. Here you are told, no, you should have. Unapangwa tu hivi. Na ile mambo yenyewe, they don't want to deal with it. No one is dealing with the elephant in the room. That what was the law on the 6th of June in relation to Section 22?
And what was the ruling on Joe?
What was the ruling in the Joe cases? Was it binding on Iebc and Chebukati? That is all. That's all we're asking the courts to say. But they're... Tafuta here Article 159 means nothing to them. No one wants to address the issue. Because just tell us that, no, those rulings were bad. I can live with that as a lawyer. Then I know. But I'll ask you, if they were bad from which day? Are they bad from the day you are saying it? Or are they bad from the 6th?
Or are they bad?
From because what you wanted to say, just tell us on the 6th, what was the law? If the law was that those rulings by the courts were binding, then it solves this issue once and for all. But Chebukati is showing, speaks from both sides of the mouth. One end, he says he will obey court orders, he will postpone elections where there are disputes. Another end, he says, I'm finishing printing ballot papers. Who is this guy? Who is he? Is he going to postpone elections? Is he finishing printing ballot papers? Is he including new names on the ballot? And if Kenyans are not careful, Chebukati is going to fail them terribly. I've never said one of the most incompetent election administrators in the history of this country is Chebukati. I can say that even in front of him. Because his handling of elections is pathetic. They've given one of the key components of the elections, the electronic identification devices system, to a company called Smartmatics. The history of Smartmatics, for those of us who've worked in the elections world, have been an election consultant in more than 10 countries. I can tell you, Smartmatics is a dirty name. No one wants to associate with Smartmatics because they have so many integrity questions that have been asked in some elections which they've engaged in. How Chebukati didn't even ask these questions before awarding them the contract. It defeats logic. When they were asked the other day in the media, why they never questioned Smartmatics on these things when they did their due diligence. Chebukati says, ask Marjan. When Marjan is asked, he says, ask the procurement, the tender committee. Me, I just signed the agreement. I mean, what is this? If you're not careful, that electronic component of the elections with a very disreputable company like this that has had many serious integrity questions raised about it. Takuwa shida kubwa sana.
All right, so what next now from this? You're going to the Supreme Court?
We are going to the Supreme Court. We hope to be heard soonest. We have mentioned today before the Deputy Registrar of the Supreme Court. Leo, saa 8:30. Take directions on the hearing of applications, hopefully also on the petition. The sooner they hear. And then nimeona Supreme Court wameitisha judgment leo saa 10 ya Sonko. Wanatoa uamuzi leo saa 10. hiyo ya Sonko inatoka.
So anataka kusema Sonko ni msafi ama anataka
kusema? Sijui atasema nini. Hiyo sasa sijui.
Bana so
walisikizwa jana na leo wanatoa uamuzi. So we hope also our case will be heard and determined expeditiously the way because they had Sonko's case yesterday. They are going to issue a determination today. So we hope we have that opportunity also that they hear us and give us a first decision to enable us. If we succeed, we need time to go around the country. Hata kwa nalala. Kwa tunaamka tunatoka nyumbani saa 12, tunarudi saa 11.
Saa 2 asubuhi.
Saa 11 ya asubuhi. Tunatoka saa 12 asubuhi, tunarudi saa 11 asubuhi.
So the question is so Joe is going to the Supreme Court. He's having a ruling today. The Supreme Court.
So not Joe, Sonko.
Nani Sonko?
Yes.
But tayari amepata certificate ya IEBC.
So that will be another.
What is the kipindi here?
I don't know, depending on what the Supreme Court holds. Assuming the Supreme Court was to hold that an impeached governor is not eligible to contest, it will be left out there for determination whether IEBC can recall the certificate or it will take another dispute process. Or that can be a ground to challenge his election, assuming he wins. If you look at what IEBC did with the Sakaja case, when the CUE revoked the recognition of Sakaja's certificate, they said, no, once as we clear, we can't. That is something else for the future, not for us now. So maybe they adopt the same. If the Supreme Court affirms that finds that Sonko's impeachment was not proper, then Sonko will be sitting on solid ground going forward, because then now there'll be no other legal challenge to his impeachment if the Supreme Court.
But the question is, you are waiting for the Supreme Court to make a decision on that, whether an impeached governor can run for office or not. But now, as we speak, what is the law?
The law is dicey. You know, there's always this presumption that you must read the Constitution as a whole.
Okay.
As a whole, in the sense that there are provisions of the Constitution that allows anybody who has been convicted. In fact, the Constitution provides that if you are removed from office for violation of Article 75, you cannot hold any other public office.
Okay.
So violation of chapter 6, that says Article 75 in chapter 6. Sonko was impeached. So he was removed from office by virtue of Article 75. So he will be bad. But there's another provision which, and that's what he's hanging on, that anybody who has been convicted of an offense, for as long as the appellate process has not been exhausted, is still eligible to run for office. So his argument was that, fine, I was impeached, but I am challenging my impeachment through the courts. And the appeal is at the Supreme Court. So I have not exhausted the appeal process. So I'm still eligible to run. So that is the question that the Supreme Court is being asked to determine. Do we read 75 in isolation to 149?
Okay.
Or what's the harmonious reading of both those contradicting provisions of the Constitution?
And where is IEBC reading from to give the clearance?
IEBC had initially refused to give the clearance.
That's what I'm asking.
They were reading only 75 in isolation to 149. Yeah.
So now what are they reading?
So now they've been told, no, you have to clear. The High Court has told them you have to clear him. They have to clear him.
So they should have read from the other first.
No, you see, this is jina kubwa. Hii ni jina kubwa.
A special case.
Wanjigi ni jina kubwa. When he appears in the room, of course it shakes some people in this country. They feel threatened.
So you think this is
those are the super returning officers, huh?
So you feel this is engineered?
Yeah, of course, without a doubt. How can the same institution which 10 years ago was arguing the point I'm arguing today in court, same IEBC was arguing like I'm arguing against them in court today. They were saying, once you've completed your studies, you have a degree. That is what IEBC was telling Justice Lenaola. Once you have completed your university degree, you have a degree, you are deemed to be a graduate. And in fact, the ones were saying, a graduate is yule anaenda kwa ceremony. A graduate yule amemaliza. IEBC was saying this. Then they used the same precedent to clear Nyambane. Then when Wanjigi appears, the same IEBC makes a U-turn, about turn. No. You must you must bring a physical copy of your certificate. The same IEBC. Of course, there must be pressure coming from somewhere. It can't just be a coincidence that what they've established as a practice for 10 years, solid years, they whimsically just turn around. That now it's Wanjigi. It means there's somebody who Wanjigi is unsettling. Okay. Jimmy is making somebody quite uncomfortable. And IEBC is just but a tool in that fight.
Okay. Yeah. So let's assume today the hearing is done and they decide, okay, guys, you're still chopped off. What next?
Our journey to liberate Kenya, Safina was given to us by God. Okay. No, when there was a lot of iniquity in the land of the Israelites, God looked into the world and saw only one righteous man called Noah. He told him, Noah, build an ark.
Jenga Safina.
Mafuriko zinakuja. Yamepamba. Jenga safina na ulete watu wote waingie ndani ya safina. Kila mnyama wawili kwa wawili waingie ndani. People having drinking, having merry, committing fornication, adultery. And Noah was telling them, please.
Mwache kwanza kidogo.
Tujenge safina. They were laughing at him that this is a madman. Noah, you are a madman. This drought that we've been having for I don't know how many years. Floods coming here. Inakuja.
Unasema tuanze kujenga
meli. Kwa hiyo ni mjinga sana. No one believed Noah.
Unasema Noah sikiza anavuta ile kitu.
Anavuta ile kitu ya Wajakoya huyo. Noah amekuwa Wajakoya. They didn't believe him. But ultimately, when the floods came and they were begging, Noah, open for us. Mungu ashafunga mlango ameenda na kifuku. Mimi sikona. So even for us, why Safina? We were not going into this space to look for personal accomplishments or personal comforts. That I can tell you that if by bad luck we don't succeed the Supreme Court, that we'll go and join Azimio or Kenya Kwanza. No. We are not looking for personal accommodation. Ours is a divine calling to help save this country. As I've told you, there's no difference between Kenya Kwanza and Azimio. They are all distributive politicians.
So mutaran bila certificate?
No, ngoja tu. We will continue the conversation with the people of Kenya on productivity. Production. We must continue the conversation. And our politics, look at it now. Our politics is reduced to something very basic. I mean, that the deputy president can stand up and say, mimi sipigangi wanawake. Then Babu Owino yesterday CG deputy president is CG ati kwani anajuaje huyu ni mwanamke. I mean, we have reduced our politics. So it's so petty and so pathetic that every time these two camps stand up, all you hear is just matusi. There's nothing of substance to the person on the ground. There's no conversation that we care about. You know, if I told you that in Kenya, only 79,000 people earn more than 100,000 Kenya shillings.
79,000 people.
79,000 people earn more than 100,000 Kenya shillings per month. We are 50 million, of which even if we were to take that 20 million of those, let's say 18 million of those are fully employed or above the age of 18. Only 79,000 of them earn more than 100,000 Kenya shillings. That should concern any right-thinking politician. Of the mortgages that we have in this country, we are 50 million. The mortgages alone are 25,000.
Okay.
Those are pathetic figures. People who own decent houses in Kenya should be more than 5 million. In fact, it should even be more than 20 million. Those who are earning more than 100,000 Kenya shillings, that's the basic that you can say, maybe that's the middle class. More than 100,000 Kenya shillings, they should be not less than 2 million. That is when you know that there's money in an economy. Okay. That is what concerns us. But our middle class is shrinking every day. More and more Kenyans are getting to the poverty bracket. And yet when we stand to campaign, all we talk about is slapping women, matusi. I mean, surely. It can't be that is our fate as a country. Our fate as a country is that we must start having a serious conversation. How do we economically uplift our people? What are the plans and programs? And that is what, as we commit to the people of Kenya, we will pursue, whether on the ballot or not on the ballot.
Okay.
Our conversation with the people of Kenya must continue. We must show a difference. We are not doing this for us to get positions. The easier route, I remember when Jimmy started, people were telling him, you are Nairobi governor and opposed. Just go to Raila, he'll make you deputy president. He said, no. I mean, I'm not looking for a position for myself. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this thing for myself. I don't want a position. Me, it's about the policy.
Okay.
Because remember in 2017, he was supporting Raila. He didn't run against him. What was the promise? The promise was that we were going to Canaan. Pharaoh, Jubilee, had misbehaved. So we were leaving Pharaoh. We are going to Canaan. Canaan was the land of milk and honey, land of opportunities to all of us. Right? What happened?
Nini ilifanyika?
I went back to Canaan, to Misri.
Kuendelea.
Jubilee inaendelea.
Kwenda Kanani tena.
Jubilee inajiendekeza through Baba, which is sad. Jubilee is a government that should not be seen anywhere. Should be studied in political science as what a government should not be. That is what should be taught to students of this political science in this country and the world, even this continent. How not to run a country.
Okay. All right. We have a Joel Alamba on call from diaspora. Let's see what he has to say as well. Mudosi.
Hey, Bwana Gerald.
Yes. Good morning to you, sir. Good evening. I think it must be evening right there.
Yeah, technically it's morning because it's 1 a.m. now, so that is already morning.
Yana mulalangi bwana huko kwenu.
Huku lazima tuchape kazi bwana.
Mambo vipi, chama?
Tuko na event inaitwa World Games. Nilijaribu kuangalia nione kama bendera ya Kenya itakuwa inapepea hapa karibu na mimi. I didn't see it. So sio mnyana peke yake.
Labda tuliwacha wakimbizi. Labda tuliwacha wakimbizi tena.
Watu I'm not even disappointed. I'm very saddened. These are people we need to jail. Sasa hapo ndio naona Wajakoya anaweza kusaidia kidogo. Aweke watu ndani haraka. But first of all, thank you, Bwana Willis. I've been listening to what you have been saying.
Thank you.
Very articulate. I love your suggestion. I wish you were there yesterday. We were actually having this discussion yesterday about the role of judiciary in our political arena. Because it's very confusing and everybody doesn't want to touch anything. You know, on one hand, you give a ruling, for example, in your case, a ruling is being given even based on what has been, because every legal system uses president.
Exactly.
If there is a president on something, and then that's what you base your ruling on. So when you come and overturn, you should have a more insurmountable reasons why you are going against the already set president.
Yeah, exactly.
And that should have been a question for the court to ask IEBC. Hey, a few years back you came and supported this suggestion. What has changed? I don't remember a law being passed in parliament or a law being signed into law or a bill being signed into law to make changes that now you're being demanded to have a degree certificate. So these are some of the things that really disturb me, that everybody who is supposed to play a key role in making our country stronger, they are walking away and saying it's not my job.
Yes.
And sometimes you even though sometimes the judge may be giving a ruling that is valid, but then the impression that you are kowtowing or you are bowing down to pressure from somebody else, from unseen forces, like you said, to returning officer, really leaves a bad taste in our mouth. Because at the end of the day, because we have said in this program so many times, Gerald, you remember, way back, Doro alisema hii kitu tusimamishe Chebukati leta mtu mwingine. Hata afadhali tulete chama kwa nyumba 10 aran IEBC kwa sababu this guy I don't even know how did he even become a lawyer. I mean, sometimes I look at some of things, Jameni, why don't we have a problem? But the problem always comes down to one thing. As long as this person, I see I'm going to benefit from him, even though I know very well he's doing something wrong, I'm going to protect him with all right. the moment IT is going to ataninyanyasa ama I get to a point where I think things may not work out very well and I need that edge, then all of a sudden this guy is bad. Because remember, from the last election, one of the irreducible minimums was Chebukati has to go. Now all of a sudden Chebukati is good. Then the other side is complaining, oh, Chebukati may move votes now. Nobody actually thinks of the future and say, for the sake of our country, for the sake of our generation to come, why don't we set up institutions and systems that are going to work well in future, even if it's not going to benefit me now. Let me go ahead and so that the people in future can actually benefit, and they will look back and say, you know what, thank you for sacrificing your ambition to make our country better and put as a system is actually working up now. One of the things I tell people, and I want to share yesterday, I forgot. People, I never knew this, Gerald, but until one of my friends actually told me, he said, the interstate highways in the U.S. are designed with one specific objective. You cannot, a road cannot be designated as an interstate or a highway unless it has a stretch, a section of a stretch that is over almost, I would say, I think 300 meters or something. Effectively, what they are looking for, in case of a war,
you disappear, my brother. Rusty. Rama.
Overall objective, yes.
Proceed.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are the things. Those are the things that really disturb me in Nasema. Jamani, our country is rich of resources. We have a lot, like Willis has said. Mbona tuzienda kuuza mboga yetu Nigeria? I'm surprised that Nigerians are actually going to London to buy. Okay, they might have some other issues. I don't want to categorize them all, but we have an opportunity, but we don't take our opportunity. Generally, remember, we have talked about this. The lady who, it never leaves my mind. The lady in Nairobi who is collecting garbage and is converting that into building material.
Construction bricks.
By now, yes, construction bricks. By now, we should be having factories in every county. Because hakuna county saizi mtu anaweza sema they are managing their garbage well. Here is somebody who has a solution that will convert your garbage into something usable. Why are we not having these factories all over the place? Let this person get a patent, apate hata kama ni 10 cents per every 1 shilling unauza. If you are selling $1 million and he's getting 10 cents, that person makes money. They retire, they don't need to work anymore. But you generate income for other people.
Yes.
We are not doing that. The young men who are building beds in Kiambu, wanaunda kitanda, buy the same bed from here for 10,000, and the beds actually they are buying here because here a hospital bed is only usable for 5 to maximum 10 years. Actually less than that. After that time, hata kama kitanda ni mzuri aje, it's thrown out.
It has to go.
And they buy a new one. Yeah, it has to go. But then you come, the same bed mtu anachukua amepewa for free, anauzia nyinyi mnanunua inatoka ngambo. And you buy the same bed. Here is somebody who is selling a bed. You buy it from the US or UK or wherever for 10,000. Here is somebody in Kenya who is selling the same design for 2. This is where we are as a country. And every day tuna complain, oh, hakuna pesa. Now, even with the issue ulikuwa tunauliza ambao mambo ya loan. Let's be realistic in one thing, Gerald. Remember, every member of parliament before watoke si walienda waka vote on their retirement package.
Yes.
All of them. They actually participated 100%. You ask yourself a question, where is that money coming from? They voted yes. Even though they are all over complaining and campaigning, oh, tutafanya kazi mzuri, rein in corruption and all that. You are the first people being corrupt. Why are you voting for a retirement package? What have you done? Nani ulisikia unaenda kufanya kazi unapewa retirement package after 4 years? Where in this world? That doesn't happen. But here we are doing a modest retirement package. Umejiwekea retirement package baka ya askari wa kukulinda kwa nyumba, gari, shamba boy, housemaid, sijui nini. All these things. Where is that money coming from? That's why the government has to borrow money, because you have already passed a law, a bill that guarantees people to get their retirement. Where is that money going for? But we are going, unfortunately, to return the same people back into office. Na tutarudi tena, tutaingia pale tu, tutaenda tubadilishe nguo, turudi tuanze kuanza kulia hapa kwa tako tena. Serikali imekuja tena inatunyanya. And then we go back to the savior mentality, tunasema serikali saidia. Utakuja unaambiwa bei ya unga imepanda, alafu mjamaa anakuambia nimereduce 20 cents. Jamani, what is 20 cents out of 200 shillings? These are the things, honestly, to me, if we address our issues respectively and teach, I pray that Kenyans will get to a point whereby we teach all these politicians a lesson. If you have been in office for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and you have done nothing, I don't care what party you come with, go home. Let's bring somebody fresh, somebody who has no affiliation, somebody who does not have cocktails hanging on somebody else's cocktails to get into office, so that we teach these people a lesson that you are here to serve as Kenyans. If you don't, next time if you come with all the money you have stolen, tutapanga laini, tutakula pesa yako, lakini kura tutapatia mwingine. Until they learn that lesson. But as long as we are going to recycle the same people and we fight for them and do all kinds of nonsense, we are not going anywhere. Tutakuwa tunalia day in, day out, and we are going to be at the same place.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Chairman, asante sana Joel Arama. Unless you still have something else?
Nimeongea sana, wacha nikunywe hata maji kidogo, but so far I like the discussion. I'm looking forward to see the Supreme Court decision about Mike Sonko's issue, because that will tell us a lot. I hope they will be strong enough to make a decision. If you say the Constitution says you are impeached and you are not supposed to run for office, then let's stick to that. If they find it that he can run for office, give us a legal basis that everybody makes. Ilikuwa high court ama nini ile ruling ya BBI. Kila mtu alisoma, hata mwenye alikuwa anasupport kama yenyewe. Hawa jamaa wame point, I can't disagree with this. They have valid points, very strong point to point. You read, okay, I see your point. There is nothing to argue about. And the Supreme Court did not have a choice but to agree with them, because everything was articulated properly. I don't care one way or the other the way they are going to rule. Can you give us grounds that in future people have a reference? Usitoe tu judgment for the time moment, and then next case then you give another ruling. No, let's do something that is going to be in perpetuity until something unique happens later that can change that ruling. 15, 20 years, 30 years, 50 years from now, let this ruling stand and apply to every elected office, this irrespective of what the person comes from, what money they have, or anything. That should be the legal basis of the Supreme Court, and I hope they will do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Joel Arama. Looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Nikiwasalimia watu wa Amerika, ambao tunawapenda zaidi. Hi, that's Joel Arama. Remember, you can call in. We are on our last stretch. You can call in 0779-800-010 or 779-800-010. Bungala Mwenyechi or 779-800-010 or 779-800-010. Bungala Mwenyechi Likwaze, nambari ni 779-800-010. Wasikia mambo ya Joel Arama. What are your thoughts?
He's put it very well. That let's not give too much prominence to political parties when it comes to electing our leaders. If these people have been part of the mess, regardless of the political party, and all of them have been voting in parliament to support this over-borrowing by Jubilee, why should you vote them back? You should forgive what? Bring new people with new ideas. The same problem, the people created the problem we are in today, cannot give us a solution to those problems which they created. And also the conversation around let the Supreme Court, I've seen they're going to issue the ruling on email. I think this is one judgment they should have read in open court, so that every Kenyan has an opportunity to follow.
Tusikie mwingine hapa. Jambo, good morning. Bungala Mwenyechi. Mambo vipi?
Poa sana, salamia au mwetu hapo.
Jambo sana.
Yeah, my name is Aaron, Don't Gerald.
Mambo bwana, siku mingi.
Siku mingi sana, umenitupa sana boss.
Sijakutuma bwana, sasa unajua nilikuwa nimeenda kuaso huko na amuku kuja.
Niliona ukijaribu kusaidia wakale kudance ile ngoma ya wadui.
Bwana nataka waanze kujua mambo ya Texas na huko ya wazungu, lakini kama majamaa mama tu abage na Emily Chepchumba. Kwanza wewe siku kuona. Na kwanza wewe kukuja bwana.
Tuko hii Nairobi tunapiga hii hapo. Next time tutakuja.
Haya tuambie.
Kwanza hii issue ya at least imenifanya wa nimesikia vibaya sana. Ndio shida ya Kenya inakuanga ni nini? Nasikia kuna wakora walitangulia wakachukua maafisa wakaacha clip nyuma bwana.
Bwana ni wanoma sana ama jamaa.
Sasa huyu jamaa hata sijui kama ataweza kukimbia. Imagine traveling for 18 hours then in the next 3 hours tena ukimbia hao now.
Kama hata kimbia au majamaa walitangulia lazima wakimbie. You are not going to entertain. Someone has to run. Huyu jamaa kichelewa majamaa wamefika lazima wakimbie.
Mabara atakimbia kweli.
Nimesema they should pray very hard that the guy arrives on time, because if he doesn't then they'll have to run.
Kenya ni crime scene bwana.
Mambo ni mengi, masaa ndio machache.
Lakini hata surely vitu vingine anyway tuko na shida kubwa. Unajua hii ya corruption Kenya, ninasemanga kuna corruption. Nimeingia deeply. Hii hata watu wanaimbanga vitotoa corruption. Nimeingia mpaka kwa mizizi za watu bana. So ku approve it take time.
Okay. Hii mambo ya Safina au majamaa wanadunga Safina mashimo unaonaje?
Safina party.
Is people are being clear, then we need to clear everybody.
Yeah, unajua shida pia. Clear everybody. Anajua pia IEBC. Sasa wewe niambia wao walikuwa wanataka kurana around 54 ama ilikuwa 55. Na unajua kuna watu wanajua hizi shinda wanaenda tu kusumbua. Ile rent nafaa iwe 5 10 hapo. Okay, si kwa ubaya lakini nafaa tuweke sheria. Yenye niliona pia kuna clearance ilikuwa na favoritism. Mtu kama Wajakoya alipita aje. Unaacha jibi Wanjiki ati Wajakoya anapita surely. Hatuwezi discriminate lakini kuna vitu vingine in public opinion. Ukiangalia ikae poa. So Safina party pia sijui walikuwa na nilisikia ati jamaa anasema hajamaliza nini?
Amemaliza kusoma, nasikia amemaliza kusoma mpaka ako masters. Ile kitu mpaka tu nikuvaa ile marinda ya graduation.
Hata Sakaja kulikuwa na issue na angeachilia tu aranda. Ama kesi yake iko hata kotini ama namna gani? Ama yeye ajui watu. Unajua Kenya ni kujuana bwana.
Nani Wanjigi? Si ati ajui. Sasa unajua inategemea ni watu wagani unataka ajue.
Ni kama this is knocking the wrong offices. Lakini anyway alikuwa na shida akuja Kenya kwanza tusaidie William apite. Naambia watu wao wamekatazwa wote. Wakuja sasa tuform a coalition tutengeneze serikali inakuja next. Ndio kazi wanasema if you can't fight them you join the other team mpigane vizuri. Unajua wewe pigana peke yako. So wakuje tutengeneze serikali tufanye. Unajua sasa nimebaki around 21 days.
23 sahi sasa.
Sasa 23 surely. Hai ni noma. Naambia tu hakuna haja wapiganie huko. Wakuja hata Ekuru Okot alisema atakuja. Alikuwa anasema akishindwa kotini atakuja kutusupport. Ameenda
kotini, amesafiri kidogo. Hata was expecting him today. Atatuambia mambo yake kulienda aje. Maybe nitampigia simu shortly tusikie atuambie what happened. Hata yeye alikuwa anangangana.
Na kama yake ilirushwa nje. Anyway, wakuje tu tungangane, imebaki 23 days. Pia naomba Wakenya pia hii vitu iko tu peaceful, whoever wins tutakubali maisha endelee.
Ama namna gani?
Haya. Maisha ni ngumu bana. Asante sana Jeff.
Asante sana Ronnie. Thanks and see you. Tukutane kesho Radio Jambo asubuhi.
Nasikiza Radio Jambo.
Tukutane kesho saa 4 asubuhi tuchape kazi. Tukutane jioni CAS 7 p.m. Kapkir Walk.
Wapi?
Tukutane Kapkir Walk jioni CAS 7 p.m. Ati kama unasikia. Tukutane hapo.
Mbona usangi live bana? Hiyo haikuangi live.
Tutakuja kesho tuko live kabisa.
Sawa, tutaona.
Jonjo. Haya. Asante. All right. That's it. I think that will be the last call that I'm picking in. I've seen the gentlemen who are calling in. Okay. Haya. Washimiwa. Masikia wangwana vile wanaongea. Okay. Kuna mambo yetu tukifunga kiosk.
Sasa sisi tutarajie. Wait for what the courts will do. But as I have said, this process must inspire confidence in the people of Kenya. Na ni vizuri amesema na umemsaidia. Hao watu wa ministry lazima wakimbie. Omanyala asipofika.
You done right on time.
Moja yao ajire tu Omanyala anaingia kwa uwanja.
Si moja wao wote. All of them kwa field. Na vitambi. And we need a medal. These guys, bana, they cannot continue doing this to us. They cannot continue doing this to us. Takuwa ngumu sana. Taruhusu niibe tu simu moja.
Okay.
Just one of them tukifunga. Jambo, good morning, very quickly. Good morning.
Morning.
Who am I speaking to?
Yeah, huyu ni Alex.
Alex nani?
Yeah, Alex here.
From where, sir?
Saizi niko Mwingi Town.
Haya, leta habari.
Yeah, nimefurahi sana hiyo initiative yako kabisa.
Thank you, my brother.
Salimia hapo wakili, nimeona kuna point sana maneno ya Iebc.
Asante.
Issue yangu ilikuwa moja. Sasa naona Willis ameongea sana kuhusu improvements zenye ataleta, alafu na vile pia amepinga hizo initiatives za Azimio pia na initiative ya Kenya Kwanza. Lakini maybe hawakufika hiyo point ya kutoa manifesto yao. Lakini haja explain vizuri side yao watasaidia nini the local man.
Manifesto.
Yeah, hiyo side ya manifesto kama anaweza tu explain hiyo part yao. Just to give a brief explanation on how they're planning to help the local man instead of criticizing actually for I don't think what they have for local man. Instead of telling us how they will export our services and how they will improve our vegetable farmers with the agro projects and whatnot. What are their plans for what they want to do for our local men who are within Kenya?
Sawa, asante. Thank you, Alex. I think you can finish with that. Briefly on the agenda, especially around the common man.
Our agenda is about, as I've said, our agenda is about production.
Production, yes.
And all it's about is about value add. How do we improve the economic opportunities for every person at their level? Maybe let me just give you an example. Another example. All our tea now is value added in Dubai. And Kenyan tea is the premium tea in the world. One of the premium teas in the world. If you are to say we are not going to export roti, anybody who wants to blend using Kenyan tea, come and set up factory in Mombasa before we can sell to you. That alone, just that one single act will create no less than 10,000 jobs, direct jobs to people who are going to be employed in those factories that are doing value addition. So our approach, even in our manifesto, I can't explain the entire manifesto now here, but just the main thing is that our manifesto focuses on how to bake a bigger cake, how to add money into people's pockets through their initiative. Government is just but a facilitator, not the provider. So that we, based on your potential, based on your initiatives, based on your capacities, government helps you to get new markets, get new opportunities to self-actualize. And you are able to earn more without government limiting that you can only get 6,000 or 10 billion. It's your initiative that will help you earn. If you do very well, you're more hardworking, you can even earn 100 billion from your initiative. If you are lazy, you can earn 7,000, not 6. Yes.
Okay. Haya, umesikia mambo ndio haya. Abbas ndio na songo to sing Azimio for his case to be favorably ruled. Okay. Ebe hata nyinyi mnaweza imba.
Tuimbe Azimio.
Sema Azimio.
Aro. Sisi ndio wasaredo. But Wakenya hawatakula uzaredo. Wakenya wako na njaa.
You
see, the election is not about uzalendo. No one doubts Baba's patriotism. Baba is a foremost patriot in this country. That one we can't take away from him. But this election is about the people of Kenya. The economic empowerment. It's not about the patriotism of their leaders. And as I've said, we don't doubt Baba's patriotism. Hiyo tumekubali. Baba ni mzalendo.
Baba ni mzalendo. Hata Willis ni mzalendo.
Hata Willis ni mzalendo.
Rama, it's the right of every Kenyan to run for any office as long as they meet all requirements. Okay. Thank you, journalist friends, and keep your hello. Good morning to you. Cleveland Otieno, salimia wakili, a very brilliant chap. Asante. Cleveland Otieno, good morning, guys. Good morning to you, Cleveland. Squeeze unalala sana, Cleveland, bwana. Cleveland, why you sleep too much, bwana? Unaona inchi inauzwa. Unalala bwana. Unaweza pata hata umeuzwa Uganda. If Jimmy is already enrolled in masters, then he ought to have been cleared by Iebc. Okay, and it's Jeff Muya. Okanda Leonard, Lydia Ogola. Thank you. Duncan anasema tafuta degree in 2027. It's an Indian to get. Okay, Miss D, come on, raise kupata. Abbas doing SGR is making money. Containers transported are not for free. Just like telling us KQ makes losses. It's a lie. The thing is the all where the cash goes is where we are not sure, but most likely and individuals' bank accounts. Okay, Omboy, the project is good because the VC overstepped his mandate. I support the projects under state acquisition of KU land. Universities are now investing on technology. We don't need billions of classes in modern universities. Technology is used to deliver knowledge. Chunks of land sleeping idle is not accepted. The WHO project is going to add value to the university. Okay. Ozoro Mambuka, Samakis, that's why he's trying his best to impose a puppet there. Samamanze, Uhuru thinks we are fools, but his sins will catch up with him. Watoto wake watatuambia they inherited their wealth na tumeona tukiibiwa. He has finished their careers. Because if any government takes power that is not puppeted by his family, they will really suffer socially and mentally, if not financially. Okay, Roger Sosila following, bro. Thank you, my brother. Jamaiya, good morning. We talk part of the 100 billion will go to this company, which you all know who owns it. The subsidies are meant to manage us. Okay, subsidies mambo ya maguta. So it's meant to manage us. Asante sana. On YouTube, I'm saying Kwanza Media TV. Good morning to you, Alex Ojwang. How can I call in? I think we've already had a conversation. Atticus now from the UK. I hope you're well, Gerald. I'm very well, Atticus. I hope you're doing well as well in the UK. But later, Will Asama, good morning, brother Bitok. Salimia Wakili. Please ask Wakili, what next for mfanyabiashara Mashuri Jimmy Wanjigi? Can he go back to ODM or he will support Chief Chancellor William Masruta? And Willis has said the board-camps are not an option. So you're going to give it time as we wait to see what will happen. Kutaendaje? Watatuambia vile kesi itaenda. You'll be able to know by tomorrow what is the next move they're going to make. Whatever move they make, I hope it's going to be to the best interest of Kenya. As Willis has said, they're going to stick to the course that is spoken about. It's been a pleasure having you, sir.
Thank you very much.
I wish you guys all the very best.
Thank you.
Natakia yote mema. We all want a better country. That's it. I want to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, that we will have an election on the 9th of August. And on 10th of August, we'll have a new president. That president will be a Kenyan. A human being. Not a monkey with a tail. But just any of these guys you're seeing here. And by the way, we'll move on. You'll be surprised. We'll move on. Kama ni asoli yako, it depends on what you're. I'm telling you, just vote for something that you know means something for you. Not for the person. Look at the ideas that are being floated. Does it mean something to you? Vote for that. Because even if you vote for the most beautiful girl, the beautiful, most handsome man, the one who gives you, who entertains you the most, and they're not able to do anything for you, I can tell you, look up on the 10th of August, your own suffering. My suffering, itakuwa imebaki na kungoja hapo kwa mlango na kuambia daddy, we need to continue. Whatever you do with your life, ensure that you have a peaceful election. Because that now will be the line between you doing what you do every day or you just staying at home locked and worrying and all that. It could also mean danger for you. Because we understand how conflicts are brewed in Kenya. They brewed around ethnic lines. And we are Kenyans and we're everywhere. Sisi wengine hapa tuko Nairobi. Na nyumbani ni mbali. So it means by the time tunavuka hapa Naivasha, things will be very relevant. And so please ensure that whatever you do with your life, just ensure that you can vote and go home. Piga kura enda nyumbani. This country does not belong to anybody. It belongs to all of us. So piga kura, ensure that you can protect your neighbor. Na usikubali chuki ya siasa ingie ndani yenu. Kuna kitu tunaitanga the tackle of the day. Do you have a tackle of the day? Your parting shot? Maybe that punch you want to punch.
My tackle of the day is, how do you say it? The chairman of Kenyatta University Council, Professor Miko Adola, writing to Kinywa, we respectfully tell you that we shall explain that we need every inch of the land that the university holds today if you gave us a chance. Yes. Stand up to power. Don't allow anybody to disregard the law just because of the position they hold. We must all stand up to all these so-called powerful people. They are human like us. Yes.
And protect the law. All right. That is it. You'll never stand in for the law, and others also stand in. Okay. If there's one thing that will stand for you and me, ni sheria, is the law. So ensure that when injustice is being done to someone else, you need to stand against it, because it could be you tomorrow. Until Saturday, take care. Not Saturday. Kesho ni siku ingine, ni weekend. Enjoy your weekend and see you again on Monday on the Common Sense Edition. Wala ambao nasikia radio pia tupatana pale Radio Jambo kuanzia saa 4 na Kasa FM kuanzia saa 1 ya jioni kesho. Until then, take care. This is Dracula and it ends right now. Bye bye.